put it inside me.
I don't know.
That's what Silicon Valley is saying about something called peptides. These
I don't know shit about
ostensibly
peptides,
magic
but I asked my
drugs
friend the
aren't
other day, I was like, yo,
exactly
dog,
legal and are often
if you're
sourced
gonna
from
hop on gear,
unregulated factories in
what
China.
will you take?
That hasn't stopped
He
them
goes,
from
I just take the
exploding in
peptides. I said,
popularity
what the fuck is
amongst
that? He said,
in-the-know techies
"Just
and
get big."
corporate bigwigs with promises that they can do things like burn our fat, tan our skin, focus our brains, improve our sleep, and horny our libidos. And it's promises like these that are just now inspiring normies to start poking themselves with the magic juice. Yet one question remains. What even is this stuff? And is this all gonna end really bad? Okay, that was 2 questions, but...
Don Toomey.
Simply put, peptides are chains of amino acids that help your body perform various functions, from healing a muscle tear, growing skin cells, or producing an entire above-ground pool's worth of testosterone, as mine's been known to do. There are some famous peptides you've probably heard of, like insulin and oxytocin. Peptides like these are created inside of the body using proteins that we consume through food. But the things that we'll be talking about today are peptides that are created synthetically in a lab and are then injected straight into your bod with a needle. You might be familiar with glucagon-like peptide 1, or GLP-1. Drugs like Ozempic or Wegovy inject a version of GLP-1 into your body, which helps you lose weight. These shots are legal and have, quite frankly, been everywhere the last few years. But their popularity has spurred a hunt to find new injectable peptide drugs that might also yield other health benefits, which is how we've reached the more colloquial umbrella term of peptides, referring to stuff like GLP-1s, but also dozens of different experimental and off-label shots with names that, when spoken, make you sound like a total droid.
Dog. What you doing with that?
Retta, tesamorelin, and then NAD nasal.
IGF-1, LR3,
BBC, TB500,
EPC 157,
GLP-3, GHKCU,
GHK,
TB500, retatrutide,
Melanotan 1,
CJC,
BBC 157,
GLP-1, N-acetylsaline, GHKCU, BBC 157, DSIP, MOTC, tesamorelin, IGF-1, LR3, epithalin, thymosin alpha-1, ARA29,
What the fuck are they talking about?
What? Since these shots are unregulated and understudied, not a ton is scientifically known about what peptides will do to your body. Yet peptide takers hope that stuff like BPC 157
right
will
in the
repair
ass.
their muscles.
He's in there too. Why is he so
GHKCU
deep
will
in that
reduce their
shit?
wrinkles,
You just gotta put the needle in there, bro. What are you
focus
doing?
More, Ipamorelin will help them sleep better, and Slytherin will help them diabolically scheme against the boy who lived.
I see.
Sometimes these peptides are sold individually, but they can also be combined to create so-called stacks, or groups of peptides taken at the same time to get different effects. Many pep pushers that corner you in the gym shower will talk about their own unique stack, although certain ones come with fun nicknames like the Wolverine or Glow Stacks.
There's such a broad category of things being sold as peptides that it's hard to really paint with a broad brush, because on the one hand, the GLPs, those are safe. People have been taking those for, decades now. So we're currently in the early adopter phase, just as we've been with any other kind of like new development where there's the first crazy guy to get a car in the late 19th century. And to be clear, like there certainly are risks there, because a lot of these things haven't been studied at all really in a clinical setting.
So we don't know necessarily.
His side-to-side head moving is crazy.
Are like the first crazy guy.
I don't typically go side to side. I usually go up and down.
The first guy to give their baby opium, essentially.
We don't know that, no.
Ezra Marcus is a reporter with glasses who wrote a piece about his own experience uncovering the world of peptides before then deciding to put them inside of himself.
I wanted to go through the kind of process that any consumer of this stuff would go through. So I went through 2 different routes. The first was I went to a above board regulated, to some extent, med spa, and I said, I'm a reporter, I'm interested in peptides, what do you got for me? They basically were like, well, we have this thing called NAD for you. The med spas generally are limited to what they can legally obtain. Then I was like, well, let me
So you went underground.
Other channel that people are engaging in with this stuff, which is what you're seeing more from your kind of teenage looks maxers. What I did was I went on Reddit, on the Peptides Reddit channel, and I just started DMing people like, hey, I want to talk to you about peptides. And some guy was like, cool, join my Discord. And there was a representative from a Chinese factory manufacturer in the Discord who would sort of handle all their orders and claim to be testing the samples, and it was all just sort of, she was just selling directly to these people.
So he just took that shit. That is wild.
Okay, well, I'll just buy the cheapest amount of retatrutide that they sold, which was 10 5-milligram vials for like 150 bucks. Sent her Bitcoin, and 2 weeks later, it showed up on my doorstep. Labeled, of course, for research purposes only.
Folks, does your investing app feel like a game? Well, if you're looking for a broker that doesn't also seem like your bookie, I invite you to try out Public. Public is the investing platform for folks
Yeah,
who
to
take
send
their
that
investing
shit
serious.
through
You
Bitcoin,
just
bro.
type
You don't want that
things,
track,
items,
bro.
and
He's
index
selling you
with real
fucking
money. The whole sign
crack,
up from another
dog. Nigga took
this
meth.
video related and referring to them online. It's also research. All 20.
One of those vials sold through the kind of more public-facing middlemen would probably cost like 200 bucks, and each one was costing me like, you know, $15. That's how cheap this stuff is to manufacture in China, and there's so much money being, there are probably billions of dollars being made on just flipping this stuff to American consumers.
I sort of came to peptides through the San Francisco tech culture beat more so. I've been convinced both over the course of reporting and then also publishing the piece and seeing it do quite well. I think that 2026 is going to be the year of what I call consumer
I could have made a
biotech.
joke there,
Well, would you look at that? It's
but I didn't make it. I just wanted you to know that I could have
reporter
done it.
based in the metropolitan charging port for virgins known as San Francisco. Jasmine recently wrote a piece for the New York Times about how peptides from China were taking Silicon Valley by storm, given their popularity amongst biohackers and people who like getting attention for saying things like BPC 3.141592.
In San Francisco, the internet is in fact real life, so peptides first showed up as a viral internet meme that was going around Twitter/X starting about June or July of last year, where I started hearing that everybody has a Chinese peptide dealer now. And it sort of became one of the little symbols of San Francisco, along with, you know, coding agents and Waymos and everything else, that everyone started talking about Chinese peptides. People would compare it even to trying a new browser or trying a new app. Like, they are the ones who want to be beta testing, they want to be early adopting, and like, yeah, sometimes you're going to have some bugs if you do that, but like, how are you going to be on the frontier? How are you going to get the benefits and the edge that nobody else is, unless you are also willing to accept those risks?
I have a whole peptide drawer in my fridge. I call it the girl dinner drawer.
Right. Okay. By touching these, am I going to explode,
No.
or what is
You're safe.
this? What do we have here?
So I brought you retatrutide.
This is all retatrutide.
This is all
What the fuck is
retatrutide.
Tori Pastori rhymes and is the founder of a marketing consultancy called Soup. Last year, she hosted a
I like this-
peptide-themed rave in San Francisco, which I would
I
have
like this
attended had I
electronic
not been
cowbell one right
preoccupied
here.
with my steroid quinceañera. Tori says that she's been taking peptides for about the last year and a half.
I really like hanging out online and seeing what the people in like weird niche communities get up to and what they get excited about. I got engaged and was really wildly overweight. I was really, really sick. I had a lot of things wrong with me.
Let's get some
And I
before
went to the
pics.
doctor, and this was right when all of the Ozempic and everything was first hitting the scene, and everyone was like, this is amazing. And I told my doctor, I was like, I just don't want to hate myself in my wedding pictures. I know I have a lot of weight to lose, like, can we try this? And she said, yeah, no problem. Prescribed it for me. And then I went to the pharmacy to go pick it up. And because my BMI was 34.7 and not 35, the pharmacy told me that my insurance wouldn't cover it, and it was going to be $1,000 a month. And I said, that's insane. So I called my friend, and instead of going through the pharmacy and just doing it that way, he'd started contacting like all these labs in China and being like, how do I get this over here? How do I make these things myself? How do I give people access to this? So he started using himself as a
dealer.
lab rat. I trusted him. I was like, you know what, if nobody else, then, you know, at least he's doing it on himself first. First peptide shot. I had side effects that I would say 99% of people do not have, and it was still worth it to me. But for that
What was
first
the side
probably 2 or
effects?
3 months, I barely ate anything. Like, I was throwing up every day. I pooped my pants twice in one weekend in public.
But haven't we all?
But haven't we all? Also, to answer your other question of what other peptides have I taken, I did a round of copper peptides.
Copper?
The fuck is that?
Like what the penny's made of?
Yeah.
What is it?
You need that too. It's actually, the copper ones are really
Are
crazy.
we sure about
I'll bring you
that?
some next time. They're purple. They look like a video game item.
What does that do to you?
It's really good for your hair and for your nails and your skin, and a lot of the girls are taking them now.
But you're not taking that anymore.
No, I did a month of that.
And why'd you stop?
There's
Maybe-
such a thing as copper toxicity, and you don't want to do that. full time. It's not one that you should just do all the time.
Now, folks, I
Maybe if you
imagine
can't
that the
do it
more
all the
you
time,
hear
it's not
about
that good.
peptides and injections, the more wary of them you become. I get it. I'm a guy who likes
Is this
to
the
keep
new
his
drug
blood
you think they're
clean
gonna
in
sell,
case
like, little
anyone needs
bottles
to
of these
drink it.
bitches
But
at the
those who are
gas
more
station?
bullish
You can
on
take one.
peptides say that the
You know what I'm
market for
saying? You
these
feel
things
like
already
you feeling a
goes
little
well
depressed.
beyond
You're like,
the
you know what? I
Silicon
want a little
Valley
more swag on me
biohacking
this week.
types who are
Bang!
cool experimenting with Chinese Sigma
Like
heroin.
10 years ago, how these
That's
bitches at the
Maybe
gas
like
station.
4 or 5 times a year. I work hard. I don't sleep enough. I push my body. Now, if I'm about to get sick, I inject Thymosin Alpha 1, and I don't get sick.
Max Macchioni is the co-founder of the health startup Superpower. With Superpower, Max believes that he's creating the first in the next generation of pharma companies, something he's calling Pharma 2.0, and he sees peptides as potentially a major part of that future.
Peptides are going to be, I think, a $1 trillion category.
But this doesn't make sense to me though, bro, because look at him.
Drug delivery,
He clearly looks, he's doing well. He's very successful. Look at his fucking, I'm assuming they're in New York. Look at the nice
And I think over the coming years, we're going to see many GLP-1
living area he
drugs
got in New
and
York.
Everything else come to market. I
You can
think
tell he's
many
successful.
people
How do you not have the time to
see
just
these broadly as
work
these
out?
kind of fringe compounds.
Like, that's
And
all
the
you need,
reality
bro.
is
You work
most
out a little
things
bit, you're
that
good.
are
You don't need to
start
fucking
kind of
inject
fringe and then
goddamn
slowly become mainstream.
be a lab rat. What do you
From
mean be a
Brooklyn
lab
Away,
rat,
for
dude?
example,
How you gonna
the
be
picture is already
testing
here,
this
but not
shit,
even
dog?
distributed. And I think many of the smartest people I know, many of the smartest biologists I know and doctors I know are using peptides, are familiar with peptides. Now, there are risks. I don't recommend people blindly take peptides. I certainly don't recommend they order them from research use only sites online. I think if you have the foundations of health in check, that should be the default for everyone. That's what men used to be like, and now the modern world makes that really hard because we're surrounded by a lot of things that impact our sex hormones and our androgen system in a negative, endocrine system in a negative way.
Well, I don't know anything about that. Personally, I'm fucking constantly. But I do have a sympathetic ear, Max.
Killing the game.
It certainly sucks to hear about all these things you and these sexless men are going through. My advice? Take a woman out to a nice jazz dinner. Pooh Bell's on 14th. That's a good spot. Once you go in there, ask for Jason. He'll show you the right table. And around 8:30, when it gets nice and dark, and Raul starts tickling the ivories for his first solo of the night, I want you to look into her eyes and pull back a strand of her chestnut hair. Ask her about the last man to break her heart. Ask her what you can do to mend it. Then, when the timing is right,
Pop a
I
peptide.
want you to put out a cigarette into that cheesecake she ordered and give her a kiss. Not one that says I want you, but one that says I need you. You need me.
Shout out the dog
We
in the corner.
Need us.
Part 2.
Tonight, now, and forever. Yeah,
Damn.
and if none of that works, just maybe try some peptides.
Yeah, well, I couldn't be more against this BS.
Oh, okay. Who's this fun sucker? Eric Topol is a cardiologist and director of the Scripps Research Translational Institute. He's also the author of multiple New York Times bestsellers, as well as the Ground Truths newsletter, where he covers various topics in the medical field, including his skepticism about peptides.
I'd love to see any of these peptides proven to be beneficial. If we find something that helps patients and people, I'm all for it. There are no trials that are being done. It's just all done through word of mouth and promotion and longevity clinics and that kind of stuff. When we inject a drug in our body, we should know that it's safe, that it is what it says it is, and it's effective. That only can be done through clinical trials. Anything short of that is not.
See, I fuck with
science.
this dude more.
It's
The other dude was in the
just
city. He got this
just
swag in
no
the background,
science
bro.
or
This
whatever
that
you wanna
real. He
call
got
it.
the
It's
woods
not
going.
The real deal.
You see what I mean?
You don't know whether you're injecting yourself with a placebo would give you the same sense of whatever it is that you're wanting to feel. There's a lot of money here. I don't know many peptides that are less than a couple $100s a shot. When you put up a few $100s for something each time every month you go get it. Talk about
Damn, look at this
confirmation.
one.
And I
Whole
don't,
bottle going
I don't
crazy.
care about the pushback. I'm just telling the truth. I'm giving the facts.
Now, folks, when Instagram told me to get on Threads, I said, fuck that shit. But in an age of rising tech skepticism, peptides seem to be a rare moment of a Silicon Valley trend bleeding out into the general public.
Hearing the range of people for whom this is very appealing made me think that, like, yeah, this is going to be a huge thing. I think people are basically very willing to spend their own money in order to get hotter, to get healthier, And especially with decreasing amounts of trust and frustration with the American medical establishment, people are, in a relative sense,
I don't know if
thinking
that's what
like,
it is, man.
well, why not?
Because I think a lot of these people are already healthy. They already look decent. They look in the mirror. They think they look good. I think it's a little bit of FOMO going on. You feel me?
My pants again?
If you see some dude or some other dude online, he's taking this, and you go, well, he might have a little bit more muscle than me. He might look a little.
Even if
you might feel like you need to go get some of that. You know.
5 years off my life. At the end of my life, it would be worth it for what it's done for me.
Indeed, peptides seem to be a
5
product
years?
that speak
Dog,
to our
you could have
time
lost the
like
weight
no
in 5
other.
years.
And
For
an
sure.
easy-to-use drug
You could have
that's
lost the weight in
sometimes
half
really
that
fun
time.
shade of
2.5
purple
years, you
and
could have lost that.
full
I don't know how
government
fat she was.
approval, thus
But,
leaving
bro,
the gamble of our
she,
health
come on,
to
dog.
us. The people, those of us inundated every day with images of seemingly regular citizens with perfect hair, perfect skin, and somehow 8 different abs on their stomach despite having a desk job at Salesforce. The folks who look at these substances, weigh the pros and cons, and still have the risk-taking appetite to give a Discord moderator a few Bitcoin to cop an order from China, wait a week for delivery, swirl up some dust in a vial of water, take out a needle, look in the mirror, and say, hey, guess it's worth a shot. For good work, I'm Dan Toomey.
That was a good video. Shout out to Dan Toomey. There you go, Dan Toomey.